A former federal prosecutor who helped lead sex trafficking cases against Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell sued the Trump administration on Monday, calling her abrupt firing earlier this year unconstitutional and illegal. I'm Adam Klasfeld, and you're watching All Rise News here on Legal AF on the Midas Touch Network. And the former federal prosecutor who I'm talking about right now is Maurene Comey. She helped lead the prosecution team against Epstein and Maxwell and helped convict Ghislaine Maxwell of sex trafficking and other crimes that landed Maxwell in prison for 20 years. Now remember, none of the members of the prosecution team against Maxwell were invited to the conversation between Trump's former attorney turned Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche and Maxwell earlier this year, when they had a 2-day chat and so-called interview about a variety of topics before Ghislaine Maxwell got a free ride to a cozier prison in Texas, a country club style prison. And the lawsuit today isn't really about that. What it's about is Maurene Comey's abrupt firing in July, when she says she was just assigned another high-profile corruption case that isn't specified in the lawsuit. But she said that despite performance reviews that always said that her work was outstanding, she was always praised by her supervisors and U.S. attorneys inside the Justice Department, that she was fired suddenly without any explanation whatsoever, according to the lawsuit. And the lawsuit shows in 2 exhibits her termination letters that say nothing about the reason why she was fired except pursuant to Article 2 authority, meaning the executive branch and Donald Trump's presidency. According to the lawsuit, the reason that she strongly suspects that she was fired is because Maurene Comey is a daughter of James Comey, who's been very critical of Donald Trump. And that the other reason, she says, is that she was Loomered. Here's what that means.
We have a lot of great friends and a lot of great people. Laura, how are you? You look so beautiful, as always. That's a woman with courage. You don't want to be Loomered. If you're Loomered, you're in deep trouble. That's the end of your career, in a sense. Thanks, Laura.
Now, in that video, you can see Donald Trump praising Laura Loomer, who can be seen in that video. She's a right-wing conspiracy theorist who has an uncommonly close relationship with Donald Trump, that she has been the subject of various news articles talking about how influential that she is for an influencer who's not working inside the government in the decisions of the President of the United States. And as a matter of fact, you can see Donald Trump saying in that video that if Laura Loomer goes after you, you might just lose your job. And that, according to the lawsuit, is exactly what happened. Now, the lawsuit talks about a controversy that happened earlier this year involving Maurene Comey's father, James Comey, where James Comey posted something on social media that caused a huge controversy in the conservative media. He posted 4 numbers, 8647. It was widely interpreted as an assassination threat, although folks who are familiar with the slang 86, you can say that in a restaurant, 86 the fries. Doesn't mean assassinate the fries, it means remove the fries. And he was expressing that he wanted to remove Trump from office. In any event, James Comey deleted the post, apologized for it, and it had nothing to do with Maurene Comey whatsoever. But it inspired a number of social media posts from Laura Loomer, calling for Trump and Pam Bondi, as the Attorney General leading the Justice Department, to fire Maurene Comey, and also to fire Comey's son-in-law, who was also inside the Justice Department. And the lawsuit, which is 39 pages, quotes all of the things that Laura Loomer was posting on social media, how she called Maurene Comey, the liberal daughter, quote unquote, of James Comey, that she had called for Pam Blondie, the term that she used for Pam Bondi again and again in her posts, to take that action to go ahead and fire her. And after she was fired, Laura Loomer took a victory lap. You can see that on July 16th of this year, when Maurene Comey was fired, here's what Laura Loomer wrote. Quote, "Today, the DOJ fired Maurene Comey from the United States Attorney's Office for the Southern District of New York. She is the daughter of former disgraced FBI Director James Comey." And her tweet goes on. They tend to run pretty long. The power that Laura Loomer had inside the federal government is also reflected in another detail in the lawsuit. Doesn't actually directly reference Laura Loomer, but it talks about how the firing of Maurene Comey came straight from the White House. This is what it says. Ms. Comey asked the basis for the termination. It's describing the day that she was fired. She went to the U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of New York, Jay Clayton, for an explanation. And U.S. Attorney Jay Clayton responded in sum and substance, quote, "All I can say is that it came from Washington. I can't tell you anything else." Now, the lawsuit says all of this is unconstitutional and illegal, that it violates her First Amendment right to free association, here associating with her father, that it violates her Fifth Amendment right to due process, that it violates the Administrative Procedure Act's protections against arbitrary and capricious actions, and that it violates the constitutional structure. And for here, we're going to take a look at her termination letter, because the justification for her firing, in the words of the letter, quote, "Pursuant to Article 2 of the United States Constitution and the laws of the United States, your employment with the Justice Department is hereby terminated, and you are removed from federal service effective immediately." The notice of termination is even more abrupt, where it talks about the legal authority for her firing. It says simply, Article 2 of the Constitution. Article 2 of the Constitution relates to the powers of the executive branch, the presidency. And the lawsuit says Trump does not, in fact, have the power to fire her, because it's the Congress that created civil service protections. And that's Article 1 of the Constitution. This lawsuit will play out in the Southern District of New York, the same court where Ghislaine Maxwell was convicted. And we can perhaps learn new information that the government has been withholding about her firing. Remember, she says that she was fired simply because of Article 2 authority under the Constitution. She was never given an explanation. Everything in this lawsuit just describes the context, the campaign against her by people like Laura Loomer, especially Laura Loomer. It describes a controversy about James Comey and his tweet and his memoirs criticizing Trump, but there is no detail about what was going on inside the government and at the time that Maurene Comey was fired. And through this lawsuit, she is going to try to seek that information. So I'm going to keep following it. And if you want to keep following it with me, visit www.allrisenews.com. That's www.allrisenews.com. And if you want to support the work that I'm doing, going to the courts, finding the information, searching for the answers, can become a paid subscriber, and I'll go in depth even further. There will be other information in the newsletter on this and other cases. And if you want to see videos like this, hit subscribe, because I'm going to be regularly appearing here on Legal AF with All Rise News to keep following the latest court cases and the latest legal news.
Can't get your fill of Legal AF? Me neither. That's why we formed the Legal AF Substack. Every time we mention something in a hot take, whether it's a court filing or a oral argument, come over to the Substack. You'll find the court filing and the oral argument there, including a daily roundup that I do called, wait for it, Morning AF. What else? All the other contributors from Legal AF are there as well. We got some new reporting. We got interviews. We got ad-free versions of the podcast and hot takes. Where? Legal AF on Substack. Come over now to free subscribe.